Welcome to the Sea of Life Plastic Stewards course. My name is Natalie Malis, and with me today is also the co-founder of Sea of Life,
Paulita Bennett Martin. Hi, everyone.
And today we'll be walking you through the final part of your course. But before we begin, let's review what you have learned throughout this series. In part one, you learned a brief history of plastics, from the earliest inventions and how innovation has led us to troublesome mass production of single-use plastics like plastic bottles. And in part two, we dove deeper into the plastic pollution crisis and its impacts on our oceans, nature, wildlife, climate, local communities, and ourselves. In part three, we learned of inspired solutions being implemented to combat plastic pollution, and we heard from cultural and faith-based perspectives from academic and professional environmental leaders. Now, you will reflect on what you have learned throughout this course and consider how to develop and find your inner plastic steward. Part four, your inner steward. Stewardship can take on many forms. There is not one form of stewardship, but instead, stewardship can come from one's own natural talents and interests. Let's take a look at a few examples of stewardship to combat plastic pollution. Organizing and advocacy are frontline roles. They are some of the most assertive roles in stewardship. These are the messengers on the front lines, speaking with decision makers and organizing community members to take action. This is not a role for everyone, but this is a key role to creating positive change.
That's right, Natalie. And I would add to that when you think about approaching organizing and advocacy, also consider the local cultural context and how you can bring your issue into events that are already a major part of your local community.
Absolutely, Paulita. It's so important to keep the local and cultural context in any of your stewardship, and keep that in mind as we go through the next examples as well. Like leading or volunteering for plastic litter, cleanups are a great way to show stewardship in combating plastic pollution, and they're also a great way to connect with other plastic pollution stewards. This is also another example of a frontline action, because every time a piece of plastic pollution is cleaned up, you're protecting another creature in the ocean.
True. It's also fun for meeting people and connecting with other folks that are just learning about the issue, and makes you feel like you have contributed in some way with a hands-on experience. So it's a great community connector and also protects our sea turtles, fish, and marine mammals.
Yeah, absolutely, Paulita. And not all examples of stewardship are on the front lines. Some of the most impactful action can be found in the written word. If your talent and inspiration lies in writing, or you love to write, or are inspired to do so, writing can be a great way to share information about plastic pollution and potential solutions. Writing can be shared in local newspapers, on blogs, on social media, and can be highly influential and impactful with local decision makers, business owners, and your neighbors.
So true, Natalie. I've seen many experiences where we are working towards some sort of change in the environmental sector, and sometimes people don't want to hear specifically from an organization or from an official. But when other residents from the community, their neighbors per se, write something, often that influences the decisions that are being made by business owners, by elected officials, and also by individuals about how they behave and the things that they purchase, they consume, and all of those things.
Absolutely. And in our day and age of social media, especially, it's a platform that everyone's looking at throughout their day. So it's a great platform for educating and spreading awareness about plastic pollution. And another example is creating a petition or taking a pledge. Organizing a petition allows for you to show widespread support for eliminating single-use plastics with your local government. And taking a pledge or pledging others to say no to plastics promotes widespread self-awareness and accountability.
I love these two approaches because, again, it really does galvanize a message, because if you're the sole voice on something, that's powerful. It is a wonderful thing. But when you can show that there's 50 voices joining you, it's all the better. So petitions are a really simple and quick way for people to take action. And pledges do influence people. They make you think about your choices, because when you pledge to do something, it's like a promise, right? And we don't want to break promises. We don't want to break pledges. So two really good approaches to stewardship.
Yeah, absolutely, Paulita. And even just one of the easiest actions that you can take is just sharing your knowledge, whether that's a casual conversation with a friend or with the family at the dining table. Sharing what you have learned about plastic pollution and some actionable solutions is a great and easy way to be a good steward.
Absolutely. I don't even realize it sometimes in my day-to-day life, how many times I have been sharing information thinking that I'm oversharing, but learning many months later that those messages really they resonated with friends or family members who all of a sudden adopted a different way of doing something, and then told me that it was because of the conversation that we had casually, right, over a meal, or you know, or out shopping and having coffee. We would chat about plastic bags, seeing them walk down the street, right? Next thing you know, I see family members not carrying plastic bags any longer. Not because of some formal education or lecture, but just because of sharing the knowledge and being open about it with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that how you live your life every day is as an example of a good steward. And really, sometimes that greatest change can come from within, and the greatest example can be how you live your life. And just taking a look at your daily habits and dependencies on plastic and substituting with reusable options is another great example. Switching to reusable drinking bottles and straws instead of plastic ones, and carrying a reusable bag to the grocery store are just an easy start.
They are an easy start. Reusable bags, baskets, whatever form of container that you have that works for you, anything is better than a single-use plastic bag. But also, I mean, there's all kinds of different containers for carrying your drinks, whether it be a reusable bicycle water bottle or a metal canister like this that might keep your beverages either cold in the hot days or hot on the cold days. Point is that there are plenty of alternatives out there that don't even cost very much money. Some people even reuse their mason jars. And some people don't buy these reusable utensil packs. They just make their own reusable utensil pack with silverware that they're not using in their home any longer. That's kind of in that random cabinet. But there are certainly plenty of ways to change little habits in your own life in a way that doesn't impact your pocket and doesn't impact your time.
Absolutely. And to help you in your journey to plastic stewardship, we want to leave you with a call to create a plastic diary. So we're going to ask you to journal for 3 days your plastic use on your phone, computer, piece of paper, whichever form is most convenient for you. And over the 3 days, you will document your plastic use. And at the end of those days, you'll reflect on the following questions and journal your response.
Yeah, let's get to the reflections.
So the first reflection is, how many plastics were single-use or disposable items or containers? So as you're looking through your journal and you're looking through your list, really break down what was single-use, or maybe what was made of plastic and meant to be disposable. Look at what items you maybe could use again as well.
Yeah.
And then you want to think about how many of those single-use items on your list, or that you've used throughout the last 3 days, how many of those can be substituted with sustainable alternatives that you do have access to?
True,
And
because some of them you don't have access to, right, Natalie? Like the idea that we have all of these different inventions around all the time at our fingertips is just not so. So one of the things to consider as you're filling in your diary, right, is what's it look like in your local area where you live? Do they even sell these products? And if and the question after that might be why or why not?
exactly. And if not, if you don't have access to these locally, well, what changes could be made locally to reduce plastic items use by your community, by yourself, to reduce your dependency on plastic as well? And the next question is really, how might you assist in reducing the plastic items, and what role do you have in creating change? So if you start by thinking about your community change level, but then asking yourself, what is your role? How can you assist in reducing plastic use?
Yeah, basically what works in your life. You know, if you're, like we just said in those previous slides, if you're somebody that enjoys writing, might you have the time to sit down and write a 300-word letter to the editor or opinion piece for your local news outlet, so that you're sharing your knowledge about plastic pollution and you're hoping to inspire others, right? Or is your role to get out there and engage with decision makers? Maybe engage with business owners. How many restaurants do you go to who use single-use plastics in all of their operations? What sort of power do you have as a consumer and a customer of theirs to start to influence positive change?
Absolutely. And thinking about what the actions that you could do, also think about what obstacles are in place. What obstacles are there to creating that change you want to see? And then brainstorm of how you might overcome them. And this is where you can take your reflection and share with maybe a family member or a friend and help brainstorm of what are some things that could be done to overcome some of these challenges to our dependencies on plastics.
Lots of reflections that you can take part in here in your diary. And I think that once you record just how many single-use plastic items, or plastic period, right? Some items that we actually use for a long time have plastics in them. It's interesting to take a scan or an inventory of just how much plastics is a part of your life, and then work backwards to figure out what pieces of that you can eliminate from your day-to-day life.
Absolutely, Paulita. And we hope that you can take what you've learned from this course to help you form your ideas, help you reflect, and help you figure out solutions to your dependency on plastic. And with that, congratulations, you have completed the final part 4 of the Sea of Life Plastic Stewards course.
We're super excited that you got here, and we hope that you'll want to learn more about Sea of Life. We just started our own Facebook page, which is facebook.com/seaoflife.org. You can go there to inbox us, message us, and keep in touch and learn about other projects that we're getting involved in.
Absolutely, Paulita. And we'd love to hear about how your reflections and how your plastic journaling went. We'd love to hear and have your feedback on that. You can reach us on the Facebook page. And we also want to leave you with the mission of Sea of Life, because Sea of Life believes in investing in people first to make positive change for the health of our oceans. And Sea of Life believes that through helping to develop and support individuals and communities with the needed training to become their own stewards, Sea of Life believes that it can create positive change for our healthy oceans and people. And that's why through this course, we have learned about the issue of plastic pollution and its impacts on our oceans, nature and wildlife, climate, local communities, ourselves. And we have heard inspired stories of stewards who are implementing solutions to combat plastic pollution in their local community. And we heard from cultural and faith-based perspectives from academic and professional leaders. And now that you've had an opportunity to learn and reflect on these issues, We hope that you will leave this course with inspiration to become a steward of your community and help reduce plastic pollution. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.